welcome to Modest Mexican Mama. My name is Jennifer, and I'm going to show you how to make tamales. So this is the brand that I use, Maseca brand, to make my masa. It has the ingredients on here on what you can use, but I tweaked mine a little bit to my liking. But I will let you know what I change. I already have some pre-made. That way we don't have to show the whole long process. But I will tell you the ingredients. That way you know what to tweak and whether you want to tweak it or not. This tastes really good though. So we do 4 cups of Maseca flour. It says to use 3 cups of warm water, but instead of warm water, I used the water that I used for my roast, which is the meat that's going to go into the tamales. But I will let you know how I made the roast in just a little bit. Instead of pork lard, it's 1 cup of pork lard. I use vegetable oil, so it's 1 cup of vegetable oil. Salt, it's 1.5 teaspoons of salt, and then 1 tablespoon of baking powder. And so then I mixed it with a hand mixer. Oh, and also I use el pato sauce, and it's just a chili salsa. It's normally used on things like enchiladas, but I just wanted to try it and it tasted very good. So I just use a hand mixer to mix all my ingredients, and it gives it this orangey color. And now I will tell you also, for your husk, you want to boil it. My pot's a little smaller. I don't have a bigger pot, or it wasn't available at the moment. So you have to put water in the pot, boil them till they're soft. You want it to be able to move smoothly. If you have a smaller pot like me, you'll have to flip them. Be very careful because of the boiling water. I just have strong hands. I used to flip tortillas when I was younger, and so I just got accustomed to the heat. But like I said, just boil till it's soft and it's not cracking and it's not going to tear anymore. And they should be good. Also, some of my other prep pork is the roast. That's what I chose to put in my tamal. I used a chuck roast. What I did to make it, I put it in a crock pot and filled it just enough with enough water to cover the roast, and then I put about 1/3 of a cup of pepperoncini juice, 6 pepperoncinis, salt and pepper, and then cooked till it was tender. Like, it's 4 to 6 hours on high, and I had to go to sleep because I started my process very late, so it was another 5 hours on warm. And just cook it till it's falling apart. It's just shredding on its own with a fork. And that's all to make the roast. Also, another ingredient you'll need. My Maseca flour has ingredients to make the red sauce, but this is also my own tweak on it. This is my red sauce. It's more of a burgundy or maroon colored sauce. But what I used for it is 3 different kinds of chiles. The first one is Árbol. Now, it is just a little red pepper. These go a long way, so you don't want to use a lot of these. I used about 6 in mine. It was too much. I had to go back and add some of my other peppers because it was too spicy. Now, it's not always going to be that way, but all peppers, some are spicier than others, just the individual pepper itself, so just be careful with that. But overall, that's the one that you use the least. Now, the second least is the Guajillo. I'd say I use about 10 of these, and these are a little flat looking, but that's what the Guajillo is. And then these are the sweet peppers. They're still spicy, but they're sweeter. It's Chile Ancho, and these are like raisin looking peppers. And they smell very sweet. It smells really good. But what you do with that, you boil them in a pot. Do like twice as much water as you do to cover it. And I use, I use 20 of the anchos for my blend. So what you do is boil them. And, well, what I did too, I took the stems off of these and most of the seeds. I did leave a little bit of seeds. I didn't go in and make sure I get every seed out. Just because it's such a hassle, and it's fine. It's going to get blended anyways. But I do recommend to take most of the seeds out. And so after they're boiled, you want to make sure that it's soft and very mushy, so it can be easier for it to blend. Do wait for the water to cool before you put it in your blender, because it can tear it up for being too hot. So make sure it's just like lukewarm, and then blend it. And also put salt in it, and it's gonna be that the salt amount is just to flavor. Unfortunately, I'd say I put like, I don't know, 1/4 of a cup of salt maybe to make this size, and that's I made quite a bit. I was hoping to make less, but that's what I came out with because I had to add some more peppers. It, like I said, is just to taste. So those are the 3. So now I want to show you how to put the tamales together. Oh, also, even if you have small husks that they broke prior to you boiling them and stuff, don't throw it away. Like, this could still be useful. I'll show you how we use this thin little husk later. But here's our first one. You want to use the softer side. So like, this is a more rugged side, and this is a softer side. You want to use the smoother side on the inside. And then I'm just going to take a scoop of the masa and put it in here and spread it, and try to do it as thin as you can. I mean, thin enough to cover, but I'd say maybe like a tortilla thin, or just a little thicker than a tortilla. So you don't want it to be too thick. The thicker they are, the longer the cooking process is going to be. So I'm just going to spread that out. I'm trying to give it like 1/2 inch up here, so you don't want it touching the top of the husk. And also like 2 to 3 inches down here, because we're going to be folding it upwards here in a little bit. So we covered this, and now I'm going to use some of my red sauce to pour down the middle. Now on the red sauce, you don't want to add too much, especially not close to the bottom, because if you put it too close to the bottom, it starts to ooze out when you're folding it and trying to put it together. So about that much. Keep it a little away from that, because when you squeeze it too, it's going to spread it out more. Trying to get some meat here now from my roast, and just enough to fill it. Sorry. Just enough to fill it there. And then we fold it. We try to have the ends meet to close it up, so you can see both my pieces of masa are together. And then you just roll it around, and then fold this bottom piece and go up. And there is one tamal. Now sometimes you'll have them opened up and showing like this, and you can leave them like that, but I like to put a little bit of the masa on top sometimes, like if it's showing too much. Like, I think that was a little too much, to kind of keep it together, keep the insides on the inside. So I'll close that, smush it a little bit, and it will look like that. I just added just the tiniest little bit of there on top, so it could be all together. And so now I'm going to put this in my pot. This is what we're going to use to steam them. That's how you cook them. You steam them until they're cooked. And so I will fill these up, fill my pot up, and I've got the bottom piece on my stove already, ready to go when we start that process. So that is just your typical tamal, and I also want to show you, though, a second one that is cheese and jalapenos. That's another one that my family does, and It's one of those ones that's more on the different side. Not a lot of people make those, but it's really good. And I'll show you what I use. I use this ranchero cheese from Cacique. I've already got some in a bowl poured out, and it's just crumbled. It's supposed to be crumbly, grady type cheese. So all I did was take it out of the package and crumble it. I didn't leave the juice that it comes with. I did spill that out into the sink. And then I use sliced jalapenos from La Costeña. And I will show you. I just put one slice of jalapeno per tamal. So I'm going to go ahead and prep this one so we can put our stuff in it. They don't have to be perfect. Like sometimes, like I got a little bit up too close up here, so I'll smush it down with my spoon just to fix that up a little. It doesn't have to be a straight line, just to cover it. I just want to cover it. Okay, so I've got my masa on there. Again, keep it away from the top. It's like half an inch, I'd say, or an inch, and then a couple inches down here as well. I'm going to grab my cheese, put it just enough to cover the middle. Oops. Drop it a little bit too much. Okay. And then just one slice of jalapeno to go in here. It's just long. It's long enough to be in there in the middle. You don't want to put too many jalapenos because it will be too spicy, but if you really like jalapenos, then I mean put more, but this is just the way we do it. So we'll fold that again, masa to masa, roll it, and then fold upward like this. Now I'm going to do an extra step on these. This is how I tell them apart. And going back to this, these coming useful. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to tie it up and make a little bow on it. And that's how I want to know the difference between which ones have the red sauce and which ones are the jalapenos. Oh no, the cheese fell out of there. Okay, so that one is definitely showing a lot of ingredients coming out. So we're going to just poke some of this in, some more masa in here. Just so that stuff doesn't fall out, and gives the tamal kind of a top to it. And just squeeze it on top to make it mold together, so it could stick together better, and to the other masa down in there. And that's how you get that little shape that it has on top too. So that's what it should look like when you're done. And look how cute. It's all folded up. But that is how you make regular tamales and cheese with jalapeno tamales. The cooking process, you have to boil some water and steam them. And the steaming process, I'd say it's about 2 to 3 hours. It also depends on how much you're making and how close they are together, the thickness of them. So you have to keep checking up on them and keep checking the water. Make sure it has plenty of water. Don't fill it to where it's going to submerge them though. Like make sure you keep the water just below this because you don't want to drown them. And I will show you when we're checking them to see, look, oh, this is not ready yet, or okay, this is ready. But just wait till they're firm, and I will show you that as we cook these. Hello, we are back and gonna check on the tamales to see if they are ready. It has been 2.5 hours since we put them in. One thing you want to do too, I'd say every 30 minutes, lift this part up where the tamales are in and check the water, make sure there's still plenty of water and that the bottom is not burning. So I have filled that a couple times. You shouldn't have to do it too many times, but also I'm boiling the water on medium heat. So I'm just going to use some tongs and pull out a tamal, and we're going to open it up and see what it looks like inside. So here's one. It's very hot. I've got it set on a plate, and here it is. Woohoo. You can see it's firm, not doughy anymore. It's staying together when I'm trying to open it up here. So that is a good sign, and that means it is done. So those are the meat ones, and this was a pretty thick one. So if that one's ready, I'm sure the rest are as well. I do want to check one of my cheese and jalapeno ones. So I want to pull one of those out. And you want to pull from different spots. You want to pull from the center. That way you make sure that the ones in the middle are being cooked, especially, and then one out from the side as well to make sure. I mean, those will more than likely obviously be cooked. But just to make sure, get some from both sides. Okay, here we go. See, it's firmed up. So that means it is done and ready to eat. It's not falling apart, it's just coming right off the husk. So that is perfect. So 2.5 hours to cook. I'd say about 25 of these is what I had in here. Maybe a couple more. I didn't have a precise number, so I'm turning that off because we're done. These are good to be refrigerated, and to heat them back up, you can either steam them again, or what I do personally is pan fry them. Just put a little bit of butter on the bottom of the pan and just pan fry it real quick and get it heated up, or microwave is great too. But I believe that is all, and I do want to give credit to my husband because he helped me form this recipe for the masa. So just wanted to let you guys know that. I'll see you next time.